Denzal and I now have a little bit of time to follow up on this session on global harmony and healing. As I said, we're going to spend a little bit of time um, looking at some different symbols and then playing with and hopefully creating or reflecting on and bringing some symbols out for ourselves. I think it's something very much needed in the world today, and we can get inspiration from all traditions around what's needed for healing and global harmony and bringing the energy we want into the world. And I was saying when Denzal and I were planning this, that it reminds me of this Hausa expression. I spent a long time in the northern part of Nigeria. And one of their common sayings is, Salama maganin zaman dunya. Salama maganin zaman dunya. And I don't know if there's any Hausa speakers in the group, but it's a sense that peace is the medicine needed for living in the world. Peace is the medicine for living in the world. And I think that's such an important thing we need to consider today as we think about moving forward into the world during these challenging times.
Indeed, indeed. And yeah, it's interesting. Peace is the medicine for living in the world. That peace within, something that you hold in your mind, and it's interesting that the connection with meditation, connected to the words meditari, means to reflect, and medere means to heal. And so I think that the symbols can become like medicines or elixirs themselves. I almost think of the symbols too, which we're about to share with you from our spiritual, the wisdom of the spiritual ancestors, African ancestors, can be like our superpower weapons. We're all heroes, bringing about, ushering in the new paradigm, and we can use these symbols, I feel, as weapons that we hold in our mind and constantly nurture. So some of the aspects of the wisdom, like the symbols that represent our beliefs or moral codes, such as the drumming and libations, and the concept of Ubuntu and Sankofa, they're all symbols of different kinds, and we'd like to share with you 4 examples. One of them would be, here we are, yes, the baobab tree, Mama Africa, the hand of resilience, and Insoroma. And of course, there's a question mark, a symbol that we'll all come up with our own symbol at some point during the discussion today. So
I'm going to speak just tree, and these are such beautiful, huge trees, iconic certainly across the areas of the African continent. Big trees that take 50 years before they're mature, and they can live as long as 2,000 years. So they have witnessed a lot of change and a lot of things happening in the world, these huge trees. And in many parts I found of the continent, there's a real sacredness, really something special about these particular trees. People talk about them as the food for angels. The fruit of the baobab tree is what you feed the ancestors. And some people talk about the trees as being doorways to a spiritual plane, another plane of life, a subtle region in some ways. So it's very interesting images that are captured in the tree and the image of the tree. And there's lots about the baobab tree that's about cycles of time and interdependence between different things and different species. Baobab trees, you know, they can grow to be 60, 80 feet tall. They have a very, very tiny, hard black seed. So both the black seed holds the whole essence of what this huge tree is. And I think that's an important message. You know, the trees are used for shade for all kinds of species. Birds go from tree to tree as they migrate between different areas. And, you know, although the trees are huge, their branches are quite fragile. It's easy to climb up these trees and you break a branch, you fall off trying to harvest the food. So it's that sense of the combination of strength and fragility, which is part of the human condition. But these tiny seeds, one of the things that really fascinated me in my learning is they have a hard outer surface and it's hard for them to germinate in the soil. But they're often eaten by elephants. The whole pods are eaten by elephants. And when the elephants digest them, there's an enzyme in the elephants that helps to break down that covering of the seed. And then when the elephants defecate as they're moving across the plains, they drop these seeds that are now ready to germinate in a rich, fertile environment. And it's from that that the trees grow. So often when you see these trees dotted, scattered across the landscape, it represents where elephants have trod in the past. So there's all kinds of messages and all kinds of things about the trees, but these days it's becoming quite popular. You know, people have found the nutritious nature of the baobab trees, that it's considered a superfood. It gives blood. And often it's in the lean season in many places before you're able to harvest a new crop where there might not be a lot of food available, that you can still get this nutritious food from the baobab tree. So lots of interdependence with this tree. It's carried in an understanding of the tree and what we see about the tree. So for me, it's an important symbol as I think about, you know, cultures and life on the African continent. Denzal, do you want to speak about Mama Africa?
I do. I do want to speak about Mama Africa, but one of the things I really enjoyed, you know, the baobab tree and its seed and the elephant. It's sort of a, you know, there's some benefit of addressing the elephant in the room. Something will spring forth of benefit when we're sort of, this is the time we're truly addressing the elephant in the room, as it were. But of course, one of the strong symbols that comes to mind is Mama Africa. Of course, Africa has always, you know, been referred to as the motherland or the cradle of civilization. You know, who best cradles the creation than mom, you know, Mama, and just the sense of roots, the connections to think of all of the offspring all over the world. And as we were sharing, some of you were sharing earlier, that longing, Amma, and both you and David were talking about touching the earth when you got there, that sense of being a grounding. Also think about the care and the respect, the strength, the perseverance of Mother Nature, always giving, never taking, and enduring, and is always there in spite of the children's misbehavior, if you will, and always this concern for not only now, but as Amma shared, for the future, the 7 generations to come. So there's always that, whatever I'm doing now, it bears fruit for the future. And also, I think a very important aspect is just the time now, we have come into an extreme imbalance of the energies of the masculine and feminine energy. And that feminine energy is, to me, I feel is an energy that sustains, that holds things. And we're coming back to that place, and bringing us back to wholeness. And I think just keeping that in our minds is very much connected to, creating harmony or re-establishing global harmony and healing, is having these symbols at the forefront, as weapons, as I like to say, to keep our energy focused on truths, and empowering things.
Great, thanks, Denzal. One of the other ones we wanted to share is this idea of the hand of resilience. This sense, and this was based on some work I did over a number of years in the northern part of Ghana with the Dagara people. And it's based on this sense of, there's a proverb, you can't eat okra soup with one finger. It's this soup. I see a couple of people smiling where they're familiar with that. You need to use all of your fingers. And it's like Amina shared in the storytelling, the sense of we all have a role to play, and it's through cooperation and bringing things together in our uniqueness and our specialities that makes a difference. But in the sense of community resilience, one of the things that I learned from the Dagara people is there's, actions we need to take to overcome challenges. There's strengths that people have. We need to have sustainable livelihoods and ways of surviving in the world. We need to heal and work the ecosystem and the land and the water and elements we live in. But most important in that hand of resilience is we need to revitalize and reclaim and revalorize our culture and spirituality. And that came through so strongly. We need to revitalize our culture and our spirituality. And people talk about the Dagara people as Tanir. It's a combination of these values of patience and courage. But it's not an individual thing. It's very much a community. Together with that sense of Kanyir is the sense of Longta and the sense of Nolang, which is unity and togetherness and belongingness. And those are all parts of this sense of community resilience. But like in many, I think, African traditions and African spirituality, spirituality is a moral code. It's behavior and right behavior that we have in the world. So one of the phrases from in Dagare is Lib fo manga. You need to change yourself to get out of difficulty. You're always encouraged to think about the changes you can make in yourself to get out of difficulties. And that's part of Kanyir. We each have our part to play in history. We have a part to play with our ancestors and the other spiritual or mysterious forces of nature. And that's a reciprocal relationship with the earth. And that's all part of this idea of Kanyir that's captured in the hand that we can use in many ways, but recognize it as interdependence and the belongingness and the moral code, the actions we take in the world. So that's an interesting symbol we wanted to share on community resilience. We also wanted to look at these ones. So maybe Denzal, you can speak briefly about these.
Well, but David, you speak so well. I love listening to you speak. You just, I sit here all day. You can listen. But I love that back to, the Kanyir, that aspect. And sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow, like the responsibility is upon oneself to change the inner world, and that will affect the outer world. So anyway, here we are with in Soroma, a wonderful symbol here. It's an Adinkra symbol. My Adinkra is rusty. A lot of my other languages are rusty. It's been a while since I've lived over there. But my illumination simply is a reflection of the Supreme. And then Ngosi is the Ibu name. God showers blessings on you. And Ulufemi, Yoruba name, it is certain God loves you. What really strikes me too is that there was, before colonialism, or before maybe the Europeans made it over there was definitely a strong connection to God, the divine one. It's not some, sort of necessarily the just worship of nature and stuff. Like, there was definitely a sense within the culture of a connection to the divine, which is something to, I think, really helpful to maintain. This is quite an indigenous awareness, if you will. And Mankateye, which is a Bambara saying from Mali, silence at the core of the universe where one connects with one's true being. Return to silence in spite of noisy material and social world. How prevalent is that? How pertinent is that at this time? And I really, it resonates as a really wonderful definition of peace, whereby peace is silence filled with truth. So if when I have a wholesome awareness of who I am, it can invoke a deep silence of, this is who I am, and I can focus on that. And then Usan Luana is a Xhosa saying, South Africa. Travel deep within for healing and understanding, connecting with self, others, and God. So, that's such a beautiful, think if you go back to overstanding, we should almost go to, now we need to go to Uber standing, and so we can get that. And, mom and dad, the original single parent, mom and dad up there is, over connecting to that energy, and spreading that energy, that awareness. This is really an auspicious time that we're in, and these symbols, I feel, again, they're like weapons that we can embrace, or those invisible beads that you turn around, just things that you reflect on, and change your inner world, and therefore how you respond to the outer world.
Great.
All for free.
Great. Thank you, Denzal.
Thank you, David.
Well, those are just four symbols we wanted to share, and we've heard other kinds of symbols through our discussions today. And we now want to ask you a little bit about what is a symbol, or what is something symbolic for you that represents African wisdom, traditional wisdom that supports you on your spiritual journey. What other things hold symbolic significance from African or Caribbean wisdom or diasporic wisdom that you relate to healing and harmony, that supports you in your spiritual journey? And to think about choosing 3 of those symbols and sharing them in your small group.
I think what this is affording us now is to really embrace the power of thought, the true wireless communication now. So when we sit in our circles and surround the earth, we're like, the Salvation Army, we're doing with pure intention. We don't, it's almost, we're going beyond words now. It's the vibration. Because you and I can be talking and you're like, I'm saying one thing and you're like, I don't think so, right? We pick up on each other's vibrations. So our intention, our thoughts can, if we send the thoughts out there, people will respond. Souls will respond to that. And so we won't even necessarily know who it is we're touching. But just if we sit together hold that thought, that it's like strength in numbers, right? This is the spiritual mob mentality, We just send out this vibe. Yeah.
Thank you, Denzal. Yeah. I just put up on the screen where we're going to move into our next session, but I wanted to share this website with people because from it we have a special gift for everyone today. You can go to this website. There's a special blessing from African wisdom from the ancestors for each of you. If you go to that website, you'll see this page. It's a virtual deck of cards, of ancestor wisdom cards, and you can click and choose a card for today. Maybe Denzal, can you choose a card just to help us wrap up this session, and then people
Absolutely.
can get their own at a later time?
Absolutely. It's a bit of so I'll tell you when to stop, yeah? And now.
So this is from the Igbo people of Nigeria, Yaja. So this is for all of us. You are God's gift to the world. Your joy and lightness is an inspiration to all. You bring happiness to others simply by being who you are.
Yeah. Yay, team. How perfect is this, huh? Woohoo.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So any final words, Denzal? And then we're going to have a very special offering from Amasade.
I believe we said it all. I think I'd just like to hand over. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to be breaking this new ground today. I really feel that this is an auspicious day, and already the reverberations are making their way out there, and it'll be fun to see the points of reference or the indicators that come back, the feedback that we'll get, from synchronistic moments in our lives that will resonate with what happened today. So
great.
Enjoy.
So if we can